I am completely safe here. I'm completely safe here. What are your rook and queen doing? Black needs just one move. If let's say white plays this, there is this. Game over. With white is playing Tiger, Hillarp, Persson, and with black is playing Tomas, Laurusas. Knight f3. Black plays d5. This is known as the Reti opening. White plays g3. White is gonna fianchetto their bishop here. Knight f6, bg2. Black also decides to fianchetto their bishop here. c4, c6, defending the pawn. And now white plays b3, deciding to fianchetto this bishop as well along with this one. So black fianchettos, white also fianchettos. Castle, castle. Both sides have finished their castling. a5. Now often in such structures, the idea of the move a5 is to push this pawn and weaken white's kingside structure. So white simply develops the knight so that in case of a4 this knight can capture. And now black plays the move knight to e4, taking advantage of the pin. Now remember there is a pin here, so the knight cannot capture the knight because otherwise white would lose this b2 bishop. So after knight e4, white plays the move knight to a4, getting out of the pin in a way which the knight defends the bishop. So now if black captures the bishop, which is what happens in the game, white captures back the bishop too. Black develops their knight, knight to d7, and now white decides to kick away this advanced knight, which is kind of being a little bit of a nuisance for white. So white plays the move d3, kicks this knight, knight goes back, and now he plays the move d4, taking control of the central squares. Black plays b6, developing this bishop, and now white puts his rook on the c file. Black develops their bishop, and now white plays knight to d3, bringing this knight towards the center. Black also develops their piece, and now the knight finally jumps on the center of the board. And now after knight to e5, black captures. White has two ways to capture the knight. One is with the pawn and other is with the knight. If white captures with the knight, this is a fine move, but the position more or less remains equal. There are not a lot of imbalances in the position. And in a team event like the Olympiad, where one side is trying to play for a win, usually white who is trying to play for a win, so it is somehow white's responsibility here to create chances. And to create chances here, white decides instead of taking with the knight, they will take with the pawn and create some imbalance in the position. So white captures d into e5. Now the pawn attacks the knight, so the knight runs away to d7. And now white makes a very interesting decision by playing the move queen to d2. And this move actually loses a pawn for white. So why did white decide to play this move? Well, first of all, this queen is gonna come to h6 and it's going to deliver some nasty threats near the black king. Black accepts the challenge. Black is like, okay, I'm winning a pawn. So black captures on c4. Now the rook captures and now the knight captures on e5. Now white cannot take with this knight because otherwise they would lose this queen. So after knight e5, white plays the move rook h4. Now if black captures on d3, this is a huge blunder because now this queen lands on h6. And there is a checkmate threat on h7. There is just no way to prevent this checkmate. Instead of knight d3, black has to defend this threat of queen h6 and he plays the move h5. White decides to play rook d1, putting this rook on the same file as this queen. Black takes the knight. And now again, white doesn't want to take with the pawn because otherwise it would close the file for their rook and queen. And at the same time, white doesn't want to take with the queen because if they take with the queen, black will simply trade off the queens and say that I have an extra pawn. And in an extra pawn, this is an advantage for black because white cannot create attack against this king using their two rooks and bishop. So in this case, it is very important for white to keep their queen. Okay, remember, if you want to create an attack, the best attacking piece, the Lionel Messi of your position or the Cristiano Ronaldo of your position is the queen. Okay, so you want your queen to be there. So in this position, white decides to play queen h6. This is a very good move. Now, this rook is pinning this knight, so this knight cannot move. And on the next move, white will capture the knight. So black plays queen d6. Now comes rook d3, hitting the queen, queen f6. Now white plays bishop e4. There is one more piece coming into the attack. Black plays bishop to a6, hitting at this rook, and this rook simply runs away to e3. defending this pawn and also getting out of the attack of the bishop. Black plays queen g7, asking this queen what it is doing here, kind of kicking it out. Now again, white doesn't want to trade queens because again, if they do this, black is left with an extra pawn and white has no attack. It's like getting rid of Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo when you want to score a goal. So here in this position, white plays the move queen to g5, avoiding queen trades. Black plays rook to d8, taking advantage of this open file, putting the rook on an open file. Always a good move. Now it begins. Black loses this pawn, but after rook d1 check, king g2, queen a1, this king is kind of forced out of its castle. White plays king to c6. White king is like, okay, you can give me a check. I'm gonna run away to f3. You can put your queen here. I understand this. You know what? I know where the safe place is. So he plays the move king to f4. He just gives up this pawn because he knows that this place is not safe for him. Black captures this pawn. Now what will the white king do? Now the white king decides to run away to g5. And this king is basically saying, I think I am completely safe here. I'm completely safe here. What are your rook and queen doing? They are not gonna come close to me. I have all my pieces nearby to protect me. Black king also sees that what is happening and it also decides to come forward, trying to stop this king from entering the position further. So now white plays the move rook f4, hitting this queen, and now black decides to gobble this pawn. Black needs just one move to play rook to g3 and it's winning. Black can play, for example, if let's say white plays this, there is this, game over. In this position, white first decides to give a check. This king runs away to h7. Again, black just needs one move and it's game over. They are completely winning. White is like busted. And in this position, boys and girls, white plays the move queen to g6 check. Crazy. It's a queen sacrifice. Now if black takes the queen, there is this rook coming into the game with rook to e7 check. If this king goes to g8, there is this bishop to d5 giving a check. And now if this king goes to h8, there is rook takes rook checkmate. Oh my god, what happened? From a position where it looked like the white king is going to be mated, it's black who's suddenly getting mated. And also, if let's say after rook e7 check, black decides to go king h8, yeah, there is just a simple checkmate like this. So after queen to g6, black cannot capture the queen with a pawn. So black decides to play the move king to h8. This position, this king, which was driven away from its castle, takes refuge near black's castle. And black resigns. Black resigns in this position. Because if black, let's say, captures this queen, they would get checkmated like this. There's simply no way to attack this king. Where do you attack the king from? This queen is very far away. There is this pawn standing in the middle. And there is a rook which just looks very far away from the game. This black king is feeling so sad because none of its pieces can help him. And this is how, in this position, black resigned and the king from g1 marched all the way to g5 and finally made a move to h6 and finished off the game. I hope you liked watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much and I will see you in another video. Bye bye.